Is it possible to be a balanced business owner? Can you really win in all areas of your life? And what would it look like to get there? So, today I would say that I'm a pretty balanced business owner, at least more balanced than I've ever been, but I'm not perfect. But I feel pretty good in all areas. And I'm talking like family, business, finances, health, relationships, faith, right? All of that. Now, I have been working on this for the last 21 years. And in the beginning, what I want you to know is I wasn't balanced at all. Okay. So I actually believe to get there, you start with imbalance. So I hyper focused on my business for many, many years. My health was not a priority. In fact, if you look at my wedding photos, I am about 20 pounds heavier than I am today. I also didn't have kids when I first started, and my husband worked second and third shifts. So I didn't really see him that much, right? I didn't have a lot of strong, active like friendships because I worked all the time. When I was in my 20s, I bartended to make money. My friends went out to bars, right? Like I lost a lot of those friendships, right? When my parents no longer forced me to go to church, I stopped going for a long time. All right. So, what I want you to see is like, I think I have it today, or at least better today, but that's not how I got here. I hyper focused on my business until it started to take off. My finances were not good because I just put every dollar I had back into the business. So I was broke because I just kept reinvesting, right? I never spent money personally because I wanted to just put it back in the business, right? Now, I share this because if you're looking at me now and you're trying to create this like really balanced life, right? I need you to know I didn't get here by being balanced. I actually got here by a lot of imbalance. Okay. This is my journey, not saying you have to copy it, but I want to show you what I did. So for me, I focused on the business first, and then the finances eventually came. Okay. Then when the finances were here, I actually had more time to focus on my health, right? When I started to have kids, relationships became a priority, right? After I had kids, I realized, I want them to grow up and have a strong faith. I want them to go to church. I want them to go to Christian school, right? So I got back working on my faith, okay? But this was over the last 2 decades. And every year, what I'm doing is I'm just building upon little by little the foundation I have. Okay. Every year I get healthier. Every year I feel more present with my kids and Kent. Every year the business keeps growing. My finances get, the healthiness of my finances is increasing. We found a great church. We love our school the kids go to, right? So these are things I really want you thinking about, like, where is the need right now? So here's a great example too. So a couple years ago, I had a friend reach out and she said, "Hey, this guy is starting this Christian mastermind of all these like 7, 8, 9 figure businesses. You've got to be a Christian to join." And 2 years ago, like it just wasn't a fit for me. It wasn't something I was interested in. I was way more focused on the business. Okay. This year, it felt right. Like it felt like a good time. My focus has shifted. So you've got to get good at identifying which one now. Okay. So in the beginning, I don't think you have time to master all 5. Like it would be insane to be able to do that. Right. So my order felt right to me. That doesn't mean that order is right for you. Maybe you started your business when you already had kids, right? That could be very, very different. I'm not going to tell you to sacrifice time with your kids and just focus on your business, right? But I want you to understand you're most likely not going to be able to hyper focus on all 5. So what I would tell you to do is pick like 1 or 2 a year. And as that becomes your new norm, you build upon it every single year. So you don't have to become balanced in 2024, right? What if you just became more balanced this year? And then next year, a little bit more. And then next year, a little bit more. And pretty soon you're going to be saying what I'm saying of like, I feel pretty balanced. Like, I don't feel perfect, but I feel pretty good, right? I think it is easier to master them 1 at a time, 2 at the very most, right? So I always think 1 is going to be a bigger priority, and then which one is second, right? So once you've got something dialed in and those actions become daily habits, it's easy to add to it. So for me, it's easy to work out 3 days a week today. A few years ago, I had to pay a lot of money for a trainer to like force me to work out. Do you see what I'm saying? But today, it's a routine, right? This year, for my health, I added like 1 cold plunge a week. right? It's a little hard in the middle of winter in my basement when it's absolutely freezing and I have to get in this freezing cold bathtub. However, it's starting to become more of a norm, right? And I bet by next year, I won't even have to think about it. It's just my Saturday routine. I work out, I go to my sauna, and then I cold plunge, right? And it's already kind of becoming that routine, right? So next year, when this is just my norm, I can say, what else, right? I can add another thing. Okay. So all of this takes years of dedication. This is not a quick thing, right? I have to remember that. I didn't do any of this overnight. It takes discipline. It takes doing things over and over and over for days, weeks, months, years, right? To sometimes feel the results. So I thought I would share some of my goals in each of these categories to show you it's just these little baby steps that are starting to compound year after year. Okay. So, number one, these are 5 areas of my life that I have goals this year. Okay. So, number one for me for faith. So, a few years ago, it was, I should say this, like maybe pre-kids, it was start going to church again. Like, and it was, guys, it was like start going to church once a month because I wasn't going to church at all. Like, I went from like, you must go to church every single Sunday to I'm in charge. I'm not going to church ever. Right. So, it was like, go once a month. And then one year it was like, go twice a month. And then pretty soon it was like, okay, go 3 times a month. And then pretty soon it was just like, we go to church on Sundays, right? So for me this year, one of my things that I wrote down was go through a Bible study, like actually incorporate like an evening journal time, prayer time to my end of my day. Okay. So I was just actually gifted a book, perfect timing, gifted a book called In Awe of God. I think that's what it's called. And I was like, perfect. It checks off like all the boxes, right? It's like a simple, you read like 4 to 5 pages a night and it has all of that mixed in. I can do that. I can read 4 to 5 pages a night, right? A quick little thing. All right. Now we're recording this. We're a little bit into 2024, right? Have I done this every night? No, because it's not my norm. It's not what I've been doing, right? So you don't have to go, oh, I tried this, it didn't work. Guys, I try everything and it doesn't work. And then I try again and I do it a little bit better. And then I try it again and then I do it better next time, right? So you just keep getting back on the horse, right? Like you just keep going. So that's it. That's all, that's my only faith goal this year. Is like, what if that just became a part of my like routine, my habit? Where I hurt myself is I say, I'm going to do it every single night before bed. And then I don't. And then I just stop. I'm like, listen, what if I just do it like once a week? What if like Sunday is the night that I go through the book? Little baby steps help me get there faster. Okay. Number 2, relationships. Okay. So I had said in the beginning, I had lost a lot of friendships. I was not proactively like trying to go to girls' night and like do all these things, right? And I was okay with that. Like I had my needs being met with like my kids, my family, like my mastermind friends, right? And this year I was like, you know what? I really want to have like a strong relationship, like friendship group with women this year. Like I want to make girlfriends. And I will tell you, like I'm in masterminds and a lot of times the masterminds are male and female. And a lot of times I end up like bonding with a lot of the guys because I am very driven. Sometimes I can be very masculine, right? And what I wanted this year was, okay, I want a good group of girlfriends, right? So I know that saying it out loud even just kind of feels a little silly, right? But for me, getting clear on what I want and getting clear on what I'm looking at, right? Now, what's interesting is I actually have a group that I'm like forming this relationship with, and I can feel myself being a little unengaged or being a little less active than the others. And as I was like relooking at my goals, I was like, interesting. I say I want it, but I'm not necessarily like going all in, right? So again, it's not like a perfect switch of like, I did it, I'm doing it. It's like, I have to work at these. Like sometimes it sounds so silly and so little, but I still have to work with these things, right? Another thing is I told Kent, we want to start doing like once a month, a date night that feels more than just like going to dinner and picking up the kids after, right? Like our date nights had turned into like quickly running to dinner somewhere for 45 minutes and then like grabbing them from my mom's house. And we're home by like 7:00, right? And I was like, I want more than that. Like I want to do something bigger, something more fun, something more thought out, more planned, et cetera. And at first I was like, okay, well, once a week. I'm like, that would be so unrealistic to think I'm going to plan something big once a week. So I was like, you know what? Once a month feels way more manageable. Now, we're past January and we didn't do this in January, right? So just to show you, like I said it and I already failed month 1. Okay, doesn't matter. We're going to move forward and we're still going to get it done. So whether January just doesn't happen and I do it 11 times this year, or I squeeze it in summer when it's just easier to do 2 in 1 month, right? So I'm being very transparent because I think some of you think I set goals and I'm not hitting it and I suck and they're just done and they'll just scrap them. Nope, it's totally okay. Okay. Because some of these I've crushed this month and some of these, they just, again, priorities, right? Okay. Number 3, health. My health goal this year is to reduce my stress. So I think when we think health, we think like get in shape, right? Like what can we do to lose weight? What can we do to feel better? And like, no. For me this year, I'm like, what if I just reduced my stress level? So I'm actually focusing more on health, on my mental health this year. So I want to incorporate more breath work, right? I have this core ball and I'm going to try to use that a few times per week. And then my big goal that I've been very focused on, I've been hitting this like maybe 80% of the week, is 10,000 steps per day, which feels like probably my hardest goal of all, right? I plan to do more walking while on team meetings and really just going like, have I walked it all today? Can I get up? I have a treadmill like right over here. That's a big thing for me for health. And I will tell you, when I walk more, I sleep better. So there is a correlation to my deep sleep, my restorative sleep, with the number of steps I walk. So usually if I don't have a lot of steps that day, I have actually really bad sleep, which is interesting. So that reducing stress, I think, will just play a huge part in that as well. Okay, number 4, finances, money, right? That kind of section. So for me, finances feel good, but they feel like I don't know what I'm doing with it. So for instance, like we are hitting levels of financial like wealth that we had never hit before. But I also feel like, what do I do with it? Right. So for me, my big goal was to find a phenomenal financial advisor, like a CPA. I'm looking right now for a new CPA to partner with, where I just feel so good about where the money is going, sitting, investing. I want to make sure that I put my money to work and feel confident. I've got a team of people around me that have been phenomenal. So I'm really excited. I just signed up with a new, they call it oh my gosh, am I forgetting what it's called? A family office. I think that's what it's called, where it's like one person that comes in and really monitors like all the areas of your finances. It feels like the missing piece to our business this year and to our personal wealth. And that is going to be huge. So that's just me making one hire and then putting my faith and trust in them and showing up for our calls and really giving them the things they need, right? So we onboarded and they needed like access to like every lawyer we talked to and all of our CPA and our bookkeeper. And oh my gosh, like there was like 17 people I had to like introduce them to. And it's like, okay, I got to actually fill out the form so they can get the ball rolling, like our insurance agent, all of these people. Okay. So that's number 4. Number 5, business, right? Which, let's be real, it was not number 5 on my list. It was probably not at the top. Okay. So number 1, my goal for business is $10 million in gross revenue this year. This is just like one part of it, with ease. I know I can hit 10 million. I know I can hustle my way to 10 million. I am confident it is doable and I will do it. But 10 million with ease, oh man, that sounds a little tougher, right? So for me, it's really building out my leadership team and just stripping more and more and more off my plate, right? Who do I need to support me? Who do I need on the team? Who do I want to help transfer some of that ownership to, right? Now, I want to say, oh, that's it, my 5 goals, but that's a lot. Like I get it. It's a lot, right? But what I'm confident that I'm going to achieve, I really think I can probably achieve all of them. There's a few that I'm like, I don't know, that might be just, it's not my norm yet, right? Like, am I going to do it? Right. But I'm confident that those will still be things I'm actively working toward, right? Mostly because my day already reflects those things. Like my workouts are scheduled. My family time is blocked, right? The finance meeting, like we already had it. I'm already onboarded. Like we're doing it, right? The plan is in motion for 10 million, right? So these are things that are already happening. So those are just like the next step, the next goal, right? To what I did last year. There's foundation there that you're not seeing. Those goals are doable and seem somewhat easy because of what I did last year and the year prior and the year before. So instead of looking at, this is her goal, I want to make my goal be this too, you've got to ask yourself, well, where were you last year? Like if you aren't working out at all, like I wouldn't start with three times a week I'm going to work out, right? I might start with take a walk a day. right? Like I baby step it. Okay. I feel like I'm pretty intense when it comes to like all of these areas, but I have actively been working on them for decades. Okay. So I do want you to know and really think about like, don't beat yourself up. At first, I was nervous to say to you, I have a goal of once a month, and we didn't do it yet in January. Right. But I needed you to hear the honesty because you might be there too. You might have said, I'm going to do this. And then you didn't. And you're like, well, scrap that. I already said I was going to do it 52 times a year. And I've already missed the first 6 weeks or something. It's okay. Like start now. Right. I find that I hurt myself when I have like this perfection number of I want to do this 3 times, or I want to do this 5 times, or I want to do this. Right. Like that's where it hurts me. That's where I'm like, but I haven't been. So stop sabotaging when you realize, okay, this isn't going to work. All right. Now, with that said, you're only one person, right? And even if you know how to delegate and you have a team, a lot of these things are going to take your time. So that's where you have to figure out, okay, there's maybe 5 areas and you want to write down those 5, but what's your number 1 out of those 5? What's your number 2 out of those 5? And then when you've got to do 2 things, so let's say I've got to squeeze in work today. At the end of the day, I still have to do X, Y, Z, and I have to get my workout in. Do you see the difference or the option here? I have to finish this thing I said I was going to do for work, and I still have to get my 30-minute workout in. I'm telling you right now, business is trumping health in my book. Okay. I know that business is bigger than health for me. Okay. But I'm also pretty healthy. Okay. So for me, I'm okay with like skipping a workout today. It's not going to kill me. I'm going to be good. Right. For some of you, your health is not in great shape. You are having serious problems. It is like very, very serious. Your health should trump your business. So the question becomes like, what is most important, right? Now, be very careful because if you're like, oh, it's the business, like I'll get to my family later, right? Well, if you're so hyper focused on business and your marriage starts to suffer and all of a sudden you're getting a divorce and you're seeing your kids half the time, are you really going to be happy with the sacrifice you made of putting the business first, right? So really, really ask yourself, which one comes first? What is priority? Okay. If for instance, I had a quarterly review scheduled on Friday, and then randomly I got an email. Maybe I missed something in the beginning, but I got an email like this week that was like, don't forget the pep rallies on Friday at this time, the exact same time of my quarterly review. Okay. With a leader and then their direct report. We're transferring the direct report. That's why I'm on it too. And I could have easily said it's business. It's important. I've already have a leader on that call to rearrange their schedule. Not ideal. Family comes first. So I messaged the team and I said, sorry guys, I just found out about Tegan's pep rally. She actually was in basketball this year. It's like her first time. She's going to be out on the court. Like I want to see her. So can we do what we need to do to move this up so I can get out of here by this time? And they were like, yeah, no problem. Done. That's the thing is sometimes you don't even have to choose between. You just have to move things around. You just have to shift. So I didn't skip that thing. We just moved it, right? Now, if I would have said, okay, I'm forgetting the pep rally. I'm just going to do the business thing. Then you are choosing that that's coming first. Now, again, you may decide I am going to have a temporary sacrifice with going to field trips, with going to the kids' pep rally. Like, is every parent going to be there? No, there are going to be parents that had to choose work that day, right? So maybe there are some things where you're like, I don't need to be at absolutely everything. So I'm not going to do that right now. Okay. Decide where you are, right? Decide where you want to be. So I had this visual really helps me. I had a mentor draw out a circle. It was a tire, right? And it was like pie shaped. And every section was like a rating, right? And we had to color in where we were. So if we were at a 2, we colored in just like a teeny piece of the pie. If we were an 8, like a good chunk of that pie. And he showed like this tire and he just said like, how far are we going to get when we're this lopsided, right? If something's a 2 and something's an 8, you're going to feel it. You know, this imbalance is going to impact you negatively, right? So the idea here is how do we hyper focus on an area, a weakness that we know we need to get up? Like maybe you've got an 8 in one and a 2 in the other, and like that 8 is good enough for now. Go attack the 2, get the 2 up to a 4, right? It may make a complete difference in just the way that you're being, the way that you're feeling, the way you're stressed out or sleeping, all of that, right? So the idea here of being well balanced or having work-life balance, right? It's not as easy as it sounds, but if you're self-aware and you're intentional moving forward, you'll get closer than you are right now. And that's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to take you from a 2 to a 10. We're trying to take you from a 6 to a 7. Or we're keeping you at a 6 in that area and we're attacking the 2 that we've got to get up desperately. That's it. Just baby steps. Not this huge, massive thing. Baby steps. It's the compound effect. All right. All right. If you like this episode, please screenshot and tag me on Instagram at Stacy Tuschl. Would love to hear your thoughts and where you're focusing on your balance this year.